Okay, firstly, thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity. Secondly, I am not a fundi at presentation. So if I jump around and I get stuck, it's purely because this is not my forte. I can get you a bond approval, but not presentations. So here
Well,
goes a
thank
little
you.
bit.
Fortunately, that's the more important bit. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to see if I can do this quickly. So this is just a little bit about me, what it is that I do, and basically who I am. I have been with Origination for 20 odd years. I am a qualified estate agent in 1994. Some people may still not have been born or were still in school. Back then it was easy. It was just one exam and you were over and done with, and that's it. So this is now my passion where I enjoy doing bond finance. I live for it, if I could say it in that way. It's a dream. It's something that's truly awesome, and I enjoy it. So that's what bond finance is. That's who I am. If I can just find my screen back and I can come back to you guys, it would be awesome. But I seem to have lost you.
So what
Okay,
did
can
you
you
do to
guys see me
unshare?
now? Can you see me?
See your face.
Okay, cool. That's perfect.
Yeah, we can. Go.
So, so basically, what I wanted to share with you a little bit about bond origination, what it is I do. So, yes, you hear about origination, you hear about different companies, everybody offering different things. But my advice to you and what I'm going to tell you is what I have learned over the years, what I put into practice every day, and what makes my business work. So, origination means us being able to source bond finance for a client from various institutions and presenting this to the client in a way that the client will understand the language. Lots of clients don't understand the terminology used by banks, so we break it down and we explain to them this is what it means. What I do first and foremost is that I ask agents that I work with to let's pre-approve your buyers first. Before you run around, before you say buyer can sign the offer to purchase, we all want the sale. But having a sale means a buyer who actually qualifies for the finance. And if they don't qualify, you and I are running around trying to get a deal that's not going to work. So getting your buyer pre-approved is key in your industry. It's key in saving money. It's key in securing a sale. Saving money because you're not running around with the buyer who will not afford this property or who will not qualify for whatever reason. A lot of people think if they're paying rent of 8,000 Rand, they can afford a bond of 16,000 Rand. We know that's not going to happen. That is why pre-approving. What a pre-approval entails, it's getting all information that you would need for a client as if they bought a property. So you need pay slips, a fully completed application form. You need IDs, you need bank statements. We use that information to analyze the client's affordability. We pull a credit report to see whether the client has any defaults, any credit issues that we need to address now before he buys the property. And in doing that, we know for a fact whether this buyer is going to qualify for finance down the road or not. The only thing we can't see is internally in the bank system whether this client has been flagged for whatever reason where he could have had some negative within that bank. So that's information we cannot see. If a client was under debt review 5-6 years ago and did not clear themselves on the bank system for debt review, they're not going to get finance, but something I cannot see upfront, something you cannot see upfront. Buyers need to be very upfront with the information that they provide. They obviously may not want to tell you, but as an originator, these are the difficult questions we need to ask the clients. So we do the application with the client. We have an online version or a manual version where we get the clients to complete their information. We ask for it to be signed purely for the POPI Act, where the client has to give us permission to look at their information, giving us permission to pass the information onto the bank. But we cannot give you the client's credit information, as in their credit reports. We can't give you their pay slips. Obviously, unless they give you the pay slips to give to me, then you see it. But information like that, I cannot give to you. But I can share with you whether there's an approval in principle, whether the client pre-qualified for bond finance. And if he didn't, I can give you a brief idea of what happened or what the story is. But all detailed information is given to the client. From there, you can run with the buyer. You can sell them the property within that price range. And remember, as much as the banks and the clients say, we are first-time home buyers, we offer cost. It's done not guaranteed purely because as much as the banks do offer costs, it has to do with clients' credit scoring within the bank. So a lot of the times the clients come back and I'm a first-time home buyer, I qualify for costs. Costs are not a guarantee. Yes, the banks offer it subject to certain criteria being met, one of them being internal banking record. And that's key in any bond finance. So bear that in mind. As much as every deal you may sign up, client says, no, I qualify for cost, I'm a first-time buyer. Not as simple as that. It is up to the bank. Yes, affordability plays a big part in it, but internal record with the banks also play a part. So getting your buyer pre-approved is key. Tips to be aware of when you're talking to prospective buyers. My suggestion is, when you're talking to a buyer, you can gauge. If a buyer says, I've been pre-approved by the bank, note how the bank pre-approval works. It's based on the information that the client gives to the bank or captures onto the bank system, and it automatically generates an amount that the client will qualify for. It's not to say that the client will get that loan amount. The difference between a bank pre-approval or something called an Uber OBI, which is based on the information the client puts in, is that there's no guarantee that that's what the bank is going to give the client. A qualified buyer certificate means we've done the credit check on the client, we've looked at the pay slip, we've analyzed the bank statements, guaranteed 82% chance your client's going to get bond approval. So you can market that to your sellers and say, listen, we have a qualified buyer, client has been pre-approved. So all we need to do is now sign the offer to purchase. In that way, you're showing your sellers that you're doing your homework on your buyers. You're not just presenting any offer that comes up in the market. You are doing your homework, you're doing your research on your clients. It strengthens your sale. It helps you close the sale. Once that happens, it makes it much easier for me to then run with the application, get it into the banks, and push for an outcome. The only delay that you would find, even with getting a buyer pre-approved, is if the client is self-employed. Self-employed is totally different. A lot more paperwork entailed, especially financials, which not everybody just has ready upfront. So bear in mind, when you have a self-employed buyer, he needs a little longer time to get bond approval. Things that you as a client need to be aware of, as an agent, that getting your QBC done, knowing your client. You may not, like I said, all clients will say, yes, we qualify, we've been pre-approved. Tell the client it's important for them to be able to compare different banks. Upfront, if you're telling them this, by the time I chat with the client already is aware, listen, this person's going to source me the best deal because they have contracts with all the banks. It's not like the client must go to one bank or their bank on their own and then originators try the others. It makes it difficult for us to then compare because we are then having to fight against another bank. We're not being able to compare. If we have all eggs in one basket, it's easier to compare each bank and say, listen, X bank is saying this. Why aren't you saying this? This is your client. It makes it easier for us to fight for the client to be able to get a deal. Gosh, guys, I don't know if you've been looking at me or looking at the spare screen that I had. My apologies. Let me try and share with you a different
screen with your details on.
My sincere apologies. I wanted you to see me talking. So that just shows you I'm not good at sharing screens. So now you can see me. I'm going to stop sharing anything. There's a lot of information that you can get in terms of flyers and this is what you need to do. This is what you mustn't do. But leave the bond financing to me. You need to just get me in touch with your buyer. If they show up at the show house, or if they click on your link on the advertising platforms that you are using, send the buyer's details to me. Tell the buyer that I'll be calling them. I will then get your buyer pre-approved. I will then guide you from there whether this client is legit in terms of whether they're going to qualify for bond finance. If, for example, a client clicks on your link and asks about a property and I get the contact details, I will try and contact the client. So 3-4 times. If the client is not forthcoming with information, I am not going to continue 6, 7, and 8 times reaching out to the client. I think that should tell you whether the client's actually interested or not. So it gives you a better idea. Yes. Things that buyers need to be aware of a little bit, I want to tell you about is if a client is planning on leaving his job, signing this offer to purchase in the month that he's actually resigned at his job and he's starting a new job in the new month, you're going to struggle with bond finance. The bank needs to see that the client is currently employed. So if he started his new job 1st of May, he needs to have earned his income end of May into his bank account for the bank to consider. They need to see consistent flow of employment where income is secured and stable. They need to see that credit record obviously plays a huge part in it. And that's about it. I don't have a lot of information on screen to give you, but any questions on home loans and financing?
Is there anything else? Thanks, Usha. That any further tips that you've got in what has kind of been thorns in the way of agents closing deals quicker because of finance? Anything that you wish agents would know prior to bringing deals to you?
Okay. Firstly, like I said, we have to get your buyers pre-approved. Signing an offer to purchase and rushing it into the bank is not in your favor, purely because you don't know what the client's credit history is. You don't know if he can afford it. And I don't just blankly submit applications because there's an offer to purchase. I prefer getting the client's credit report, making sure he can actually qualify. And I'll give you the heads up, and then it goes into the bank. Maybe just a couple of hours delay, but the point is I will get it into the banks and you aware of whether this deal is actually going to happen or not. Signing 2 offers on the same property, and then you expect both deals done at the same time, you have a problem there where once a first offer to purchase is submitted to all the banks, it blocks the second application from going in. So as much as I can submit it, the banks will assess, but they will pick up when it comes to AIP and then valuation that there is a second deal in place or a first deal, and they will automatically stop the transaction. So I, as an originator, need to advise the banks which deal is actually proceeding. As much as we have 72-hour clauses and an ABSA client is in and an approval, but he's waiting on other banks, and bank number 2 is also an ABSA client, goes into ABSA, ABSA will hold the second application. We would need to advise them which application is proceeding before they will proceed to generate the second approval. So knowing your client, knowing what they need, knowing that they can qualify is key before you sign an offer to purchase.
That's great. Thank you. Any questions from your experiences, guys, that will help you bring through deals quicker? Any other, what questions do you have for Usha, who's clearly got decades of experience? Usha, if you can also just put your details in the chat box as well, so the guys can get your details.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Guys, are you quite happy with bond origination? Everything is quite fine, you know everything? Or don't you know enough yet to ask questions?
Sorry, David. I think from my perspective, yeah, it's just a bit ahead of the game for me at the moment. I just wanted to find out, you are going to send us the recording of this because I think this will be very useful for me to go back to
Yes.
when I do eventually get to that stage of a sale.
Yeah, no, that definitely will. I'll be editing this into 3 sessions. So yeah, we will do so.
Awesome. Cool.
Any other comments, questions, guys? Are we all cool? Okay. Last 2 seconds. Anything else? Okay, fine. Okay, good. Good, guys. Once again, Usha, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
It's a
put your details
pleasure.
in the
I
chat
will
box.
add my details on here now once I shut my screen.
Okay, yeah, great.
Okay, cool.
And that'd be great. You got the chat, just put in the chat box in the Zoom. And then, guys, just to confirm that we will be meeting at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Let's make it as close to 8:30 or on 8:30 as possible so we can then get going. Yeah, I really look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Hopefully today was yet another productive and interesting and informative session for you. I think there's quite a lot to chew on. And then if there's any questions from anyone, please feel free to chat, to send me a message or anything like that. Okay, cool. Just let's wait for Usha's details to come on so we can copy and paste those, please. And guys, service for me, service levels is super important from our conveyancing bond originators. So yeah, please make sure that you link with someone that is going to give you the service that you need. Clinton, did you want to add something or question? Clinton, do you have something? Oh, there we are.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you very much, Usha. And to all, I've been using Usha for many years, and she's been fantastic help and support to my business. So yeah, I think for me the awesome thing is I don't need to know all the answers. So if there's any kind of finance questions that my buyers have, I just direct them to Usha, and she's been fantastic at resolving and clarifying things. And yeah, I've been very effective at helping my buyers get their bonds. So yeah, thanks very much, Usha, and thanks for your time today.
That's great. Thanks, Clinton. And it just illustrates the point that our referrals, good service over a period of time, building relationships over a period of time, they get you business. Usha and Gunsons give good service to Clinton. Obviously, I know GSM as well. And then I asked Clinton, who do you know? And the first person he mentioned would be Usha. And all of us do have those kind of relationships in our service providers. We should be that in the property industry for buyers and sellers if we are consistently giving good and professional service. Okay, cool. Usha, are you putting your details in, or do you want to just? I can just put your details onto my WhatsApp groups. Yeah.
Hi there. I did put it on, but I will also send you my e-business card on WhatsApp.
That'd be great. Okay, everyone. Thank you for really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for making the commitment. It's good for your good, and it's just a privilege to have you on board. So, guys, let's enjoy the rest of our day, productive day, and see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.